Welcome to HLAA North Bay of California January meeting. We're located north of San Francisco in Marin and Sonoma counties. I'm Sarah Ozer. I'm the president, and with us today is Tawna Cooley, vice president, and Sarah Rose, our treasurer, is not here. Jim Ozer is our tech host, and Alan Katsura is recording and will be uploading that for access later. The mission of our chapter is to improve the world of communication for people with hearing loss through information, education, support, and advocacy. Today, we have a presentation followed by Q&A. Following the Q&A, we will have our HLAA North Bay, Marin, and Sonoma County people some formalities. We'll have a treasurer's report and we'll have voting for our officers. So after the Q&A, if you live in Marin or Sonoma County, please stay in the meeting to vote after the presentation. So thank you again to our tech hosts, Jim Ozer and Alan Katsura. We really appreciate your being here. So being together at this meeting is a way of supporting each other. Please put the city you are from in the chat so that we can get to know each other better.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Hi, I'm Tawna Cooley, and I am, as Sarah said, Vice President at HLAA North Bay. Today we have with us Mikey Shaffer. Welcome, Mikey. We appreciate you coming. Mikey is from Listen Technology. Please feel free to put any of your questions at any time in the chat as Mikey speaks. Mikey Shaffer is the Western Regional Sales Manager at Listen Technologies, with global headquarters in Bluffdale, Utah. The Hearing Review had a nice write-up about Mikey in April of last year. They said, Shaffer has worked in the assistive technology industry for 10 years and is a passionate advocate for inclusion. She joined Listen Technology in 2016 and most recently was Vertical Sales Manager. Before Listen Technologies, Shaffer was a telecommunications specialist at Relay, Utah, where she worked directly with low-income deaf and hard of hearing Utahns to provide solutions for their telecommunication needs. Mikey Shaffer has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Marketing Management. She is a foster parent, an advocate for unaccompanied refugees minors, and a board member for the Guest Relations Association. Mikey lives with her family in California. So please, everyone, welcome Mikey to HLAA North Bay. Thank you.
Hello. That was a great introduction. Sounds like somebody wrote that for me. Let me quickly share my screen and we will, am I able to share my screen?
Sarah has to make you a co-host.
Just go down to the bottom and go to share screen. You should be able to do it.
There we go. Just give me one moment to get situated here. Okay, can you see the Listen Technologies logo? Okay. I'm going to move your beautiful faces off my screen too. That way I can see what I'm doing. So thank you again for having me. It is my pleasure to be here on behalf of Listen Technologies, and it's also my personal pleasure because as you just heard from my bio, this is an industry I've worked in for many years, and it has, a personal story for me as well. I am passionate about what I do. I grew up near this chapter. I grew up in Fremont, California, where one of my best friend's father was the superintendent for the California School of the Deaf. And, from an early age, I spent a lot of time on that campus with my friend's family and was exposed very early on to deaf culture, something that I, learned to admire greatly. Life eventually in adulthood took me to beautiful Utah, where I met my husband and began my career in assistive technology, like you said, at Relay Utah. I really loved that position. I loved working directly with the deaf and hard of hearing community in Utah and making sure that they had access to telephone service. I also served on the Loop Utah committee along with some friends on this phone call. Hi, Shelly. Good to see a familiar face here. And I may have met you guys, some of you on the call, at some HLAA events in Salt Lake City in recent years. But my time at Loop Utah, I worked hard to advocate for the use of loops to be standardized throughout facilities in Utah. We all on this call probably know what a long, hard road that can be. Life has a way of just kind of preparing us for what's next. I eventually moved over to Listen Technologies, where I work in assistive technology for public venues, like assistive listening systems that we probably all benefit from on this call. But during those years, it became clear to me that my husband was also experiencing hearing loss. I was able to recognize some of the signs. And because of my experience at Loop Utah and Relay Utah, it was determined that he did have a severe hearing loss in the mid-range. He has what's called a cookie bite hearing loss. So my voice is what he struggles to hear. So I feel really lucky and blessed to have the background to be able to recognize that and understand what he was going through as he came to terms with that. And help him and my family kind of navigate what was new for us. And I'm also very, very fortunate to be here with you guys today. I really love where I am at, and I want to thank you guys for spending some time with me. As far as Listen Technologies, you may already know of us, you might not, but we are, for anyone not familiar, we are the leading manufacturer of assistive listening solutions for venues. So we don't have as many, consumer products like some of our competitors. Everybody here is familiar with Williams Sound and likely has used a pocket talker. Listen has less of those individual solutions and more solutions for public spaces that are offering assistive listening. We believe strongly that everyone deserves an exceptional listening experience. That's why it's in our name. Listen's founders also have hearing loss, and they recognized early on in their journey that there were serious gaps in what was being offered publicly for assistive listening, and they set out to do it differently. And we accomplished that by engineering and manufacturing a full line of assistive listening products. We have radio frequency, or FM or RF, you may hear it called, systems, infrared systems, portable hearing loops, and also Wi-Fi solutions, which is what we're here to talk about today. But of course, if you have any questions on any of the other solutions, I'm here for you. Our mission is to entertain, educate, and engage by delivering the right listening experience at the right time and place. And we'd like to do that as seamlessly as possible for you, the end user. And we accomplish this by always striving to innovate for the next new thing. And the next new thing is Listen Everywhere, what we are here to talk about today. One way we are innovating is by staying ahead of emerging technologies. So we've been working on Listen Everywhere and previous iterations for 7 years now, probably. And it's at a point now where we are really comfortable offering it as an assistive listening option. Listen Everywhere basically transmits audio using Wi-Fi, and it sends that audio directly to our personal smartphones or tablets. So Listen Everywhere provides high quality audio directly to your smartphone or smart device. It can be a tablet. And we do that through a free app. What you're seeing here is the Listen Everywhere app directly as it comes right off of the Apple Store or the Android store. So it works on iPhones and Androids alike. And that's it. On your end, that's it. All you need to do is download this app. And when you enter a venue that is offering Listen Everywhere as their assistive listening solution, you're just going to join the Wi-Fi network at that venue. And then the channels are going to populate within the app. Once that signal reaches your smartphone, you can then either stream that audio directly to your Bluetooth hearing aids or cochlear implants if you have Bluetooth. Or you can add a neck loop to your phone and be able to connect directly to your T-coil. And everyone else that's not using a hearing aid or a cochlear implant can simply stream to their earbuds or use earphones. However they'd like to get that audio to their ears, they can do that via their phone. So there's no need to check out a receiver at a public venue. One other good thing to know from our perspective is that once you have this app and you receive the signal, you're free to move about the venue. Anywhere where Wi-Fi reaches, you're going to be able to receive the audio on your phone. So you're not stuck, in the case of an IR, an infrared system or a loop system, you're not stuck in one area where to receive that signal. You can move freely anywhere where the Wi-Fi range is available. And a look behind the scenes from the venue perspective, which is important because we really want venues to deploy this everywhere. From the venue perspective, Listen Everywhere makes it very simple and also inexpensive to offer assistive listening. And they can also offer so much more with Listen Everywhere, which we will talk about in just a little bit. But first, from the venue perspective, this is kind of a really simple drawing of what is happening. They are taking an audio source. That could be any audio source. It could be the speaker or the presenter using a microphone. It could be TV audio, pre-recorded audio. Any audio signal gets routed to a Listen Everywhere server. I'll show you a picture in just a minute, but that audio gets directly input into the server. The server is hosted on the venue's guest network. Whatever Wi-Fi network the guests will access in the venue, they host the server there, and then that audio signal goes out over the Wi-Fi signal and is picked up by your phone. It could also be picked up by a Wi-Fi specific receiver that the venue may have. Maybe they are offering iPods, or perhaps they've bought a receiver from a manufacturer like Listen Technologies. Either way, that audio source, like I said, could be anything. It could be assistive listening, or perhaps they are offering audio description for low vision guests. Perhaps it is an interpreted feed for foreign language speakers. It's a very flexible system, and they're able now to offer more than one channel of assistive listening. Real quick, this is kind of technical, but this is what the server looks like. This is the front and this is the back. This is a 2-channel server, and this, I believe, is a 16-channel server. Basically, you can stack these in any amount so they can offer as many channels as they need or want. So it's really easy to set up and deploy. And because this is the only equipment that a venue needs to purchase, there's no construction costs. There's very minimal installation costs. Most places do it themselves. So we're breaking down some of the usual barriers that we run into when venues say, I can't afford to offer assistive listening. They only have one thing to purchase. There's no ongoing costs. And there's far fewer failure points when using Wi-Fi for assistive listening. They're not going to experience interference from competing frequencies. They're not going to experience interference from building materials. Metal in walls can sometimes mess with the audio signal in a hearing loop, for example. And there's no special training required to deploy it. So, Listen Technologies, I want to be clear, we are fans of all the other technologies. In fact, we are a manufacturer of all the other technologies, infrared, RF, loop, all of them are wonderful solutions. So Wi-Fi, I don't look at it as a replacement so much as a way to expand access to everyone. Because it is so affordable and easy to use, we're going to be able to put it into so many more spaces. I know personally, right? I advocated for loops at Loop Utah. I know that it's the preferred ALS solution for T-coil users. I know that it's so simple to use. And from my years of working in advocacy, I also know that cost is the number one barrier when venues say they would like to offer it, but they can't. So I guess my point is, imagine what we can accomplish if we can offer a similar experience for, I mean, this 2-channel server, full price at MSRP is under $1,200. So very affordable for venues to be able to deploy 2 different channels of audio. The fabulous thing, another thing that's really important for a public space when we're talking about assistive listening is, like I said, they can offer more than 1 channel, and more channels equals more opportunity for inclusion. It's awesome for assistive listening, audio description for low vision. Like I said, you can offer multiple languages, or even, you can take those TVs on the wall at a sports bar or a casino, and you can make sure people can actually hear the game while they eat their hot wings and gamble. One important note here is that on its own, Listen Everywhere does not meet ADA compliance for assistive listening, because people bringing their own phones is great, but a venue is still responsible for providing receivers. For those of us who maybe don't have a smartphone, or maybe don't want to download the app, or maybe we're more comfortable using a familiar receiver, I just wanted to make a note that most venues will buy a few iPods, for example, and keep them on hand to meet ADA compliance, and others will buy manufacturer receivers. We very shortly, I think next month, we will be offering Wi-Fi receivers to purchase as well, so that you don't have to use your own phone if you don't want to. Another venue, a bonus, is the app is fully customizable. The images I already showed you are what it looks like exactly as you download it off of the Apple Store or the Google Store. But the venue has the option of changing the colors. They can add their logos. They can add welcome ads and videos. They can name the channels. They can link to documents. It's a really robust app, and if they choose to, they can add a lot of value for their customers by customizing it. But either way, it's going to work exactly as is with our Listen branding as well. Just know, for your experience, once you download the app, when you enter a venue that has a Listen Everywhere system and you join their network, this app is going to look how they've customized it with their channel names, whatever channels they have available, or what's going to populate on this app. As you leave there and go to the next, restaurant or event center, and they have Listen Everywhere, and you join their network, their channels are going to populate there. So a few places that are already really excited about Listen Everywhere and are already deploying it. First and foremost, houses of worship. They love it for a lot of reasons. One, because it's an affordable way for them to accommodate all their guests and parishioners, but they can also stream other things, and everyone can benefit from it. If they are streaming the message for those who are hard of hearing, they can also send it to the overflow seating, or perhaps the cry rooms for nursing mothers. They love to customize the app and add the hymnal there and the sermon notes, or maybe offer a Spanish language ministry. So it's really flexible, and they get a lot of benefits, and it amounts to more inclusion in houses of worship. It's popular in hospitality. I think I mentioned sports bars, casinos, gyms. You know, we all benefit when we don't have to plug a headset in to a treadmill. So so basically now we can see all the TVs and all of the channels available. And they also, you know, hospitality places also really like it for events, to be able to offer assistive listening for events that may come and go or rent the space. Education, this is really popular. This shows a young student, but truly college campuses are deploying Listen Everywhere all throughout the nation and the world, really, because college students, they all have a receiver right in their pocket, and they prefer to have a discrete experience by using their own phone. So really popular on college campuses in the classrooms, and then also in the stadiums and the student unions. The student can simply just enter into a new Wi-Fi range and join the network at the stadium. And then waiting areas, right? Imagine Listen Everywhere at your local airport. Or we've seen it deployed in the waiting rooms in hospitals, cancer treatment or dialysis centers, anywhere where people have to wait around a long time. And they may want to, you know, catch what's on TV, for example. And we've already talked a little bit about arena audio. It's very popular in arenas for everyone, right? Everyone has a difficult time hearing in an arena. So it's a way to offer an added value to anyone at the game. So those are just a couple places kind of to get us all thinking on where we might enjoy experiencing Listen Everywhere. One other thing to note is that a lot of venues, we sell combo systems. So a lot of venues say, I would like to offer RF or infrared and have the traditional receiver and neck loop experience. And I'm going to pair it with Listen Everywhere so that those who prefer to use their phones can. It's really affordable. It's a very common way to do it and have a redundant system so that you have an extra system if something were to fail. But those are just a couple other ways to deploy it. But I hope that answers your questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them here.
Yes, thank you very much, Mikey. There are some questions in the chat that I'd like for you to see, starting with Mary.
Let's see, Mary. How have you solved the latency problem with Wi-Fi? Yes, I mean, it's a problem I think everyone will always be working to solve. But when we first introduced Wi-Fi, you probably heard me allude to this a little bit. Latency was an issue that we were not comfortable with. We didn't really promote it for live audio, more like TV audio and things like that in a sports bar, because the latency was something that we did not feel qualified as assistive listening because it wasn't an equivalent experience. Since then, we have worked hard on our end and are confident that we have the lowest latency available on the market. With your newer iPhones, I mean, my iPhone is, I think, a 7 or an 8, so not very new. But that latency is as low as 70 milliseconds. So it's about like it's less than sitting in the very back of a room. With your older Androids, that can increase. But as phones improve every year, so will latency. But that latency we are very, very confident in. If you have older Bluetooth hearing aids that maybe you experience latency in that connection, that's something we might not be able to solve for. But generally, my husband is a Bluetooth hearing aid user as well as a T-Coil user, and he doesn't have an issue with it.
Thank you. The next question's from David. He says, can a repeater be used in large areas?
So a Wi-Fi repeater, absolutely. Anything you use to extend the Wi-Fi network will just extend that signal farther.
And then, thank you. Dana has a question in the chat. Do you provide information about the latency that different smartphones or methods of coupling to the phone can add to the audio signal? And she says significant latency can make it difficult to hear and lip read at the same time.
Absolutely. It can be so difficult. There's just too much competing for our attention at that point. But yeah, like I said, it's going to depend on the individual phone. But as far as the server itself, assuming that there is enough network to support the amount of users, and generally there is, it's a very small draw on the network, then the only, unknown is what the user's phone will, provide for latency. But in general, like I said, an iPhone is around 70 milliseconds. Our receivers that are about to enter the market are less than 80 milliseconds. And then I believe Androids are just a little bit higher than that.
Thank you. And Carol Agate says she's been trying to download the app, but it stopped downloading after about a sixth of the way.
Downloading it from the App Store, that might be a service issue. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's not fully downloading. I will mention that though. If anyone else runs into that, let me know.
Thank you. And Tawna says, does the app on the phone scan continuously for Listen Everywhere in whatever location the person is in? Or does the person have to check the app for Listen Everywhere in venues where they're going?
So the venue would probably be posting a notice. If they're trying to meet compliance, they'll be absolutely posting signage that they have an assistive listening system, and we provide signage specifically for Listen Everywhere. And then the experience would be you would open the app and the app is automatically going to scan that venue for the Listen Everywhere server. So you won't be prompted, your phone won't say, you've entered a venue with assistive listening, Listen Everywhere, would you like to open the app? You would have to know, and they would open the app and then it would scan that venue for the Listen Everywhere server, if that makes sense.
Okay. And then Gary Schwartz asks, please address audio quality with regard to noise suppression and audio compression.
I would probably have to get our product manager to answer that level of detail on that question. It likely will depend on how they're distributing the audio before it gets to the server. And every venue is going to have a very different way of doing that. But I'd be happy to look into this question for you. And if you want to give me contact information, or Sarah, I can share that with you. And you can get it to the group.
Okay, thank you. David is asking, what is a ballpark cost for a workshop area of some 300 seats?
So it depends. It's going to be based, unless you're purchasing the Wi-Fi receivers. If you're just purchasing the system, the server, it's going to be based on how many channels you're trying to provide. So the 2-channel server can be 1 or 2 channels. Whether that is stereo or mono. And that, I believe, is MSRP for around $1,100 and change. A dealer may, offer the cost of less than that. And then if you were trying to purchase receivers as well, I actually don't have that information yet because they're coming out likely in February. You guys are the first to hear about this, so keep that under wraps.
Mm-hmm. And Alan says that the Android download only took a few seconds.
Oh, good. Yeah, it isn't a very large app. It should be downloading quickly. So that leads me to believe either there was a Wi-Fi service issue during the download, or maybe there's something wrong going on at the Apple Store. But it's a small app. It shouldn't take very long to download at all.
And Tawna has a question. Can this be used as a portable system? For example, moved from one venue to another for talks or meetings?
Yes, it certainly can. In fact, we hosted a lot of COVID graduations and churches and parking lots using this system over the last couple of years. And the way that gets addressed is simply building an enclosed system and providing portable Wi-Fi. So when I go to demo my system, I actually have a little case and it has a wireless access point built into it, and I take the internet with me when I demonstrate it. We have information actually on how to do that and what to purchase. Right now, I don't believe we're packaging it together, but we have all of the information available so you can have a portable system.
I see. So Shelley Wyatt says she can talk about her experience with Listen Everywhere. I think that would be good for us to hear. Shelley, would you like to share that now?
Sure. Excuse me. I have a living room loop and I have Listen Everywhere in my living room right now. And the other night, I had both of them on at the same time by mistake. And I was kind of amazed that I picked up both of them up at the same time. So as in regards to the latency, it was just after what I was being delivered in my loop. And when I watch TV with it, I find it, just a little bit behind lip reading, but not enough to mess me up. Because when lip reading, as many of you probably know, if it's too far off, it just blows my mind. I can't hear and I can't lip read because nothing matches that. So I find it just a hair off of lip reading and able to follow the movies really well. Right now, I'm sitting in my basement with a neck loop on and my hearing aids. And there's a big hum in here. You keep seeing me tilt back because it gets rid of the hum. And one of the cool things with Listen Everywhere is I can be anywhere in the house and not have a hum at all. So, I love the loop and I like meetings in the loop and stuff, but I'm finding I like the Listen Everywhere because I can move about freely.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, Shelley. And Mikey, Tana's asking, can you explain in more detail how to use Listen Everywhere in a home situation?
Sure. It is less common, but it's absolutely doable, as Shelley just noted. So basically, you would the audio feed in that scenario will most likely be coming from your TV, and you're going to simply take your audio out and connect that to your server, and then your server is going to go on your home network. So whatever network your phone joins when you get home from work, that's the network you're probably going to want to host it on. Now, the way a venue would customize the app or turn channels on, make them active or inactive, that's done through a cloud services account. That's a free account. We just get you a sign in for that. And from there, you can go and customize anything you want. Likely, you're not going to need that. You can protect channels. That's another thing that I should have mentioned that venues can do. They can lock down and password protect channels. So if they're hosting an important meeting that they don't want anyone within Wi-Fi to listen to, they can certainly do that. You could certainly do that at home, but it might not come up. But Shelley might be able to tell us what her experience was if it was easy for her to set up herself at home, if you don't mind.
The first time we didn't do it right. So, but the second time, I don't know what happened. We just followed the directions again. And the second time it just snapped right in. So it was not that hard. It was, and I'm not sure what we didn't do right the first time, but by the second time we had it.
Mikey, I would like to know if there's somewhere a public place where we could try Listen Everywhere out. I'm in Marin County, and our chapter is Marin County, Sonoma County. Is there any place around here that has Listen Everywhere
I am confident that there is. I need to look and see what I can find for you that's a public space. Right now, many of us in California know that most of the Bay Area is not open for guests. We have a lot of corporate spaces that use Listen Everywhere. But I'm going to see if I can find some more public spaces like a house of worship or somewhere where you'd be able to go and actually experience it in your area. I'll look into that.
Mhm. And there's some more, let's see. Let's see. Can you give us your email address so that we can contact you with our questions?
I sure can. I will put it in the chat here so that you guys can all copy it. How about that? There you go. It's there.
And we also have some input that Jim downloaded the app to his iPad, which is connected to Wi-Fi. It was less than a minute to download. And he's suggesting to try downloading the app when you're connected to Wi-Fi.
For sure. One kind of fun thing that you can do once you have the app, we have a demo mode that you can go into, and it has kind of a fake customized app. And if you enable it, so if you go if you download the app, on the left, there's going to be a little hamburger drop-down menu. And if you click on that and go and choose support, you can enable demo mode. And if you do that, you'll be able to, it'll kind of run through and sorry, mine's playing. It will run through an example. It's going to pop up a welcome video that a venue, it's our welcome video, but the venue might put something else. You can skip that. It's going to take you to an app that we have kind of fixed up. It looks like with different venues, a restaurant, a playhouse, a tour of a national park or something. And it kind of will just show you what your experience might be. You can click around there and see what it's like if the venue were to have downloads or links to their menu or a discount program. It's kind of a fun way to kind of demonstrate what it's capable of. And then you can just remember to take it out of that demo mode so you can use it.
Tana is asking if Listen Everywhere would be appropriate in senior living facilities for speakers and classes or the TV.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really popular in senior living facilities. We actually have one here in my town. I'm in Sacramento now. I live here, so I'm local to California, everyone. I don't know if I said that, but we have a high-end community here that deploys throughout all of their facilities. One thing that I will mention is it kind of really depends on the age of the guests, right? Senior facilities are likely to pair it with a more traditional technology so that those of us who are more comfortable using an RF receiver or a loop product, they usually do both, right? It's an added value. It's kind of an extra value item in those scenarios, but absolutely that's the perfect scenario because likely the homeowner in the senior living community is joining the network. They're taking that throughout all of their day-to-day activities, and everywhere they go, they're going to have access to Listen Everywhere.
Okay. All right, let me just see if there's any other questions. If anybody has a question that has not been answered, you can raise your hand. so that we can see it.
I have a question. This is Debbie. I have a loop in my living room and dining room, which is hooked up to the stereo and also to the TV. So would I be using, and my hearing aid is T-coil.
Mhm.
My cochlear implant is Bluetooth and which I have not tried yet. So it's also T-coil too as well. So would I be using this an app for my CI?
You certainly
Living room to
could.
listen to music?
You certainly could if you decided that you wanted to have a server at your own house. Then you would do, the same way that your home living room loop is hooked to the stereo and to your TV. You would use those audio outputs to a Listen Everywhere server if you prefer to do it via Bluetooth. Otherwise, it sounds like you have what you need if it's working for you. But if you'd like to be able to move outside of that loop and still be able to pick up the signal, then Wi-Fi might be something that you'd want to use with your Bluetooth.
Okay, so let's say I'm listening to a Harry Potter book and I have an audio through Amazon, Audible. So would I be using Listen Everywhere through that?
Are you streaming the Audible through like your laptop or your tablet?
Yeah,
You probably
laptop.
don't. In that case, if you're already streaming it to your tablet or your laptop and your laptop has Bluetooth, you could try connecting your laptop directly to your CI, right?
Yeah.
Cut out the middleman.
Then you wouldn't need the listen to. So the listen
Right.
listening would be outside. Okay.
Yeah, that's something to consider. If you have a smart TV that already has Bluetooth technology, you may be able to connect your TV directly to.
I think my TV is not smart. I've asked a couple people, they said I have a dumb TV.
I have one of those too.
And I'm not about to go to the store, run to the store and buy a new one yet at this point, unless they win the lottery.
Well, I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
So Jim has the app and the demo, and he can share his iPad. And I think that would be nice for us to get an idea of what that is. Go ahead, Jim.
Have you enabled screen sharing for him?
So in the bottom corner here is the app. So I turn on the app. It says Listen Everywhere. And as she mentioned, it says enable demo mode. So I'm going, if I do anything wrong, please tell me. It says enable demo mode. So I enable the demo mode. That's okay.
Listen Everywhere is the first Wi-Fi streaming solution perfect for personal and assistive listening. With the free iPhone and Android app, your guests can choose to stream audio from multiple sources in your venue using their own smartphone or tablet. In a sports bar or restaurant, Listen Everywhere lets your customers choose the game or station they want to hear from the variety of channels broadcast from the stations or local radio. At a conference or house of worship, you can select from the translations provided, enhance audio for those needing assistive listening, or provide audio for overflow or cry rooms, in waiting rooms, casinos, hotels, airports, museums, or tours. Anywhere guests need to listen to audio. The simple design of Listen Everywhere makes it incredibly easy to set up and operate. Just connect audio sources and your local area network to the Listen Everywhere servers. Your customers download the Listen Everywhere app from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and connect to your Wi-Fi network. When the app is opened, your customized welcome message or video is the first thing they see. Using our design specifications, easily add your logo and create, upload, and manage personalized scrolling banners for announcements, advertisements, programs, and more. You can even upload PDFs like menus or event schedules and list all your offers under one tab. Improve the customer experience and set yourself apart from the competition. Get Listen Everywhere today.
So that's the welcome video that they can choose. They can choose any video that they want to put there, or they can have no video, and they can set a timer saying, I would like my guests to have to watch it for 5 seconds before they can skip it. I don't know that I've ever stayed long enough to watch that whole video before.
Okay, is there anything else I should demo
So
here?
from here, if you can kind of click around. If you click on the speaker, there's 3 options at the top. That are a little speaker, and then there is the eye. There's a little in the middle. So close that menu out. But so you can see it gives options. The venue may, let's say it's a church, and they may have their, their hymnal linked here, or their announcements for the week. The plus symbol, I believe if you click on that, it's going to link to like some offers. Yeah, so this would take them to like an ad, for example, like outside of the app. You can link to websites. So the venue may choose to use all of these added features, or they may choose to just not do anything, just name the channels so that you know which channel to click on. Or they may lock down all the channels but one and only offer assistive listening. It really, truly depends on what they want to do. But this is a handy little tool if you were going to talk to any venue and ask them to offer this service. They can certainly look at this demo mode and see what is possible for them.
So there's a question about closed captions. I didn't see anything for closed captions, but what if you just turned on CC at the bottom of your screen? Were people able to see the closed captions?
I believe that is a possibility. The service itself does not offer it, but if you are running another app in tandem that does captioning for you, you could certainly do that. It's something I would like to see offered, and I don't think it's a very big stretch in a future roadmap for this product line, but we don't have it right now.
Okay, so are there any more questions?
Yep, I have one.
Yes.
It's been horrible trying to get places to loop. And I realize this is a lot cheaper than a loop. But how extensive is it? I'm in New England. I don't know whether you're there yet or not.
Mm-hmm.
But getting places to understand this need and getting people to understand that they could have it on their phone and have this thing. How do you get this thing widespread so that it's really effective everywhere?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's something that I am so excited about, because it does, it's really tough to get people to care, and it's really hard to get them to pay for it, right? So I do think the cost and the very, simple install is going to make an impact. And once the receivers are introduced, there is no barrier to meeting assistive listening compliance for the ADA with this product. I think that's the key. And I would be more than happy to, provide whatever materials you might need for an outreach like that. But I think, simply we've worked long and hard to get them to understand why a loop is important. And I think being able to offer that a similar experience at a lower cost, and without very much disruption to their day-to-day stuff with construction. I think it really will resonate, and that's what we're working towards. So I'm more than happy to create any tool you think you might need for outreach. But know that I'm actively working on that as well. My region is everything west of the Mississippi. I have a counterpart that does everything east of that. So know that I am traveling about 50% of the year to do just that. I speak with end users, I speak with dealers. That is what I do for my job day to day. So I'm working on it, and I know my counterpart on your side of the country is as well.
Do you have a list? Do you maintain lists of places that do have it?
Yes, we have the ADA locator, which lists all, if we are aware of it, it goes on the ADA locator, which is an app that you can download. One problem that we run into as a manufacturer, since we don't sell it directly, sometimes they get installed and no one ever tells us. So there is a whole channel out there selling this product that I may never even hear about. So I try to capture it whenever I can. I do have some case studies and references on our website that I can send along for you guys, so you'll know of some that are totally willing to share it and talk about it. But I can also, if you let me know where you're at, I can also do a little digging with the other salespeople at my company and see what I can find in your area.
I'll be in touch.
Yes, Mikey, in regard to what Carol asked, how do you, and this is just asking, in more depth, how do you get people to show that hearing loss matters, that it's necessary? We know it is, and we're out there pounding the pavement, and support groups, presentations, conventions, talking to people one-on-one. Do you know a way around the stigma? I mean, do you perceive it as that?
Well, I'll tell you, I always lead with that it's the right thing to do. I always lead with, trying to help people understand, what it's like to live with hearing loss. But what people really listen to is the impact on their bottom line, right? So I spend a lot of my time reminding venues that they are legally required to offer assistive listening, and that there are very large ramifications if they don't. And then I spend the other half of my time letting all of the dealers know that I work with, the people who sell my products, know that it is their job to educate their customers, which is the venue, on their legal obligations, to protect their customer, to be the thought leader in the industry, making sure that every time they sell an audio product, they are also selling the assistive listening to go along with it. So I spend most of my time educating people on what the ADA actually says about assistive listening. I lead with why it's important, and then I follow with what happens if they don't do it.
Oh,
So know that I am actively working on that. But I talk often about the bottom line to their business is that doing the right thing is going to get them more business. Doing the wrong thing is going to cost them. And I tell our dealer network, because our product sells through the Pro Audio and IT dealer network. Anyone who is going into a facility and installing a speaker or a sound mixer or their server, their network, knows, if they're in my region, then they know that they are obligated then to also make sure that that customer knows that anywhere in America that serves the public and uses an audio system is required to provide assistive listening as well. And then we go from there.
okay. Well, thank you very much, Mikey, for sharing your just personal experience with hearing loss and your professional experience and how you're involved now, and explaining to us how Listen Everywhere works. We're recording this and we'll be posting it for other people to see.
Thank you so much for having me and for letting me monopolize your time this afternoon. I'm always learning too, and I think that we can, move forward and make assistive listening be even much more seamless going forward. There's always room for new innovation. I think the fact that you guys are open to it is exciting and awesome. So we're friends now. I'm here in California. You have my email. Anything you need, I'm happy to provide. If I don't have it, I will get it for you. And I do think the feedback about the captions on that video, the app itself does not provide captions, but that video that we host there absolutely should have them there. And I'm going to talk to our marketing team about embedding them there. That makes sense. I think they were thinking along the lines of the venue, trying to convince the venue, but if I think that captions belong there. So I will talk to them about embedding that on the next iteration for sure.
All right. So thank you from all of us. And now I'd like to thank all of the participants here and